everybody, this is Ken from Reverend Guitars, and we're at Wildwood Guitars in Colorado talking to Rick Vito about his signature model today. This is Rick's second signature guitar with Reverend, and what we've tried to do is instill a bunch of ideas from guitars that Rick has played throughout his career and sort of channel them into this one instrument. As I've mentioned, with the first guitar that we did with Rick, we were sort of confined to a body style, and when it came time to do this guitar, we didn't have any preconceptions at all of what we wanted for a body shape or for a design. And Joe Naylor, who designed the guitar with Rick, just said to Rick, hey, you know, what's been your favorite guitars in the past, and how do we want to go forward, I guess, with working on this instrument right here. Rick played a guitar that you dubbed the Streamliner. Did you dub it the Streamliner, or was it dubbed?
Yes, for lack of a better name. I think I'm not the only person that used the Streamliner as a model, or I think there's even cars that are streamlining was something. It was the American version of the European Art Deco, which turned into what they called the streamlined modern art movement, which was applied to everything from cars to you know, radios, and all types of functional items in the home and in used creatively everywhere, buildings, etc. So streamlining, you know, just it made use of streamlines, you know, aerodynamic looking streamlines that people think of as Art Deco today.
So how did the first Streamliner guitar come about?
Interestingly enough, it came about when I was on tour with Bob Seeger, another Michigan guy, and we were out on the road for a really long time, and I would pass the time of day just by in my room or wherever, just noodling, drawing out guitars, you know, wild shapes, this and that. So finally I hit on this shape that I really liked. So at the end of the tour, I went home and I drew it out to scale, you know, full size on paper, and took it to a friend of mine named Toru Nitono in California, in LA, Japanese American guy, and so he built it for me. And it sort of has a pink and black motif in a half circle design, and with the centerpiece being cream, and with the streamlines. Okay. So very Art Deco looking, and so I used this with Fleetwood Mac and on a lot of recording sessions and such. And during that time I was with Fleetwood Mac, about a year after I produced the first Streamliner, someone gave me a burnt old 50s Les Paul Jr. that was just ruined practically. So there was no hardware on it, nothing, it was charred. So I had Toru, you know, get it all kind of sanded down and everything, and I drew out another design. And this also had the streamlined center section and the headstock, and it had P90s, of course. I added a second P90 where there was only one originally. It was a junior, I suppose, originally. And did a cream binding around the edge and painted it this color, which was like kind of a seafoam green color. And so when Joe approached me about doing a new Reverend guitar, he knew that he wanted to have some of these Art Deco streamlined influences on the guitar. And so I started breaking out pictures of both guitars that I had at home. And so we sort of grabbed little bits of this one, little bits of that one. And Joe added a very great idea by putting a little stair step here section in the center, which kind of tapers out this way and has a little stair step thing. One of my guitars had a stair step, a different type of stair step, which is also another Art Deco feature, and Joe incorporated that here. Here's the streamlines here. And on one of my earlier Reverends, I had asked Joe to do a pickup combination for me, which was one P90 here, moved a little closer to the center of the body than normal. Usually this butts up to the neck, just so it would have just a slight more bit of brightness to it. And I came up with an old Supro pickup, which I bought somewhere, and the Supro pickup has it's sort of a cheap sound. You know, the old ones sort of dark, but if you use them correctly, if you run it through the amp with just the right amount of EQ, whatever, they're wonderful. And they're a sort of missing link between a humbucker, which they're not, and a P90, which they're closer to, because they are, even though it looks like a humbucker, they are single coil pickup. In fact, Gibson borrowed the look of the humbucker from the original Supro Valco-made pickup, which is what this is a sort of a takeoff on. And so there we had a completely different sound. Instead of a 3-position toggle switch, we used a pan switch, which I have on my other guitars, which allows you to get not only the 3 sounds, but all these little infinitesimal bits of tone in between there, which I like a lot. And master volume, master tone, and the Reverend fullness switch here, which you can back off to get a slightly more single coil sound and dial in to get a little fatter, Gibson-y, for lack of a better word, full tone.
Yeah, this would be our we call it a bass contour control, but it's just a passive bass control that actually cuts low frequencies in the same manner that a regular tone control cuts high frequencies, and we feature it on everything because it really opens up the tonal possibilities for any guitar with a very simple circuit. The pickups are reverse wound. This is, like Rick stated, this is actually a big single coil. And to our ears, we were trying to take that idea of the Supro, Harmony, K, Valco sound and give it more output so that it balanced properly with
the P90.
Balanced properly with the P90 and worked well through modern amplification. You know, so you wouldn't, if you bring 2 or 3 guitars to a gig, you're not going to grab this like you would an old Harmony or something and have it be completely out of balance with everything else in your rig, yet still retain that that tone. And so Joe made a lot of pickups to sort of find that perfect blend. And it actually has one large coil under this half, and there's a bar magnet under the other side, which gives it this really cool sort of scooped sound to it. And then, if you can see, we've put some really cool silkscreen on the pickup to sort of define separate this pickup from the regular sort of hot PAF that Reverend uses in other things. And we also are featuring a Carina body, which this looks kind of like a lot of guitar, and this one probably weighs about 7 pounds, 3 ounces if I had to guess.
Nice weight.
And ebony fretboard, which is exclusive to your guitar in the line at the moment, and to really set off the color. Having the ebony along with the black appointments on all of the guitars really, I think, makes it bing. And then we also, Rick was a fan of the Imperial style tuner.
Yeah.
And so we were able to do a locking tuner with the Imperial keys.
The Imperial's always had that sort of Art Deco-ish quality anyway, with the stair-step effect here.
And then, of course, to remind you again, we're at Wildwood Guitars in Louisville, Colorado. And what we've done here is Reverend has been doing some exclusive color runs for Wildwood. And I think the neat thing about how we're doing that is Wildwood Guitars is actually having us go to the artist and ask the artist what they would like the custom color to be. And so tell them a little bit about this. Well,
it has been suggested to me, and when I first saw the first production of these guitars, that they sort of conjure up an automotive feel to them, and this sort of is a Chevy, and the black sort of is something Imperial maybe, and I wanted to get something that sort of was reminiscent of my favorite old cars, which are old Cadillacs, and I used a sort of a pink and black and cream motif on my first Streamliner, so we went in that direction of the pink tone, although this is more of a wood rose. Cadillac did a wood rose color on some of the 59s, and they also had a color called Persian Sand, which was in that same family, and this one falls somewhere in that family. Just drawing you know, an additional link to that automotive 1950s overall vibe.
And I'll tell you here, we're going to keep that vibe going, because we keep having some ideas for other colors of that era that would look incredible on this guitar. So as we continue to make this model over the next few years, we're going to see some fun stuff for sure. But this, obviously, we're very excited about. So what we're going to do is Rick's going to play some of these for you, so you can hear some of the sounds and stuff for yourself. And once again, I'm Ken from Reverend Guitars, hanging out at Wildwood Guitars in Colorado with Rick Vito. It was nice talking to you.